evidence sticker on it where I mark my initials and affix. Afraid you're going to look like a big old. Afraid you're going to. You got a trial coming up. You got to introduce some evidence, and you're afraid you're going to look like a big old dummy. Well, that's all right. This video is to teach you how to introduce evidence. So, first thing you do, you get your evidence, whether it's paperwork or a bottle of wine, whatever it is, and you walk over and you show it to the other side. And you say, look here. And they look at it. And they say, yep, that is the evidence that was talked about in discovery. So then you walk back over and you mark it. Now, you mark it with a little sticker that says Plaintiff's Exhibit 1 or Defense Exhibit 1. Now, you don't say, Defense Exhibit 1, Judge, this is a bottle of wine that I've marked as Defense Exhibit 1, and I've marked it as... No, that's going to draw an objection because it has not been established that this is a bottle of wine that was taken from the defendant yet. So, you just mark it, and then you walk up to the witness. You say, Officer so-and-so, I have here what has been previously marked as Defense Exhibit 1. Could you tell me what that is? And the officer looks at it and says, well, that's a bottle of wine that I took out of the front seat of his car. You took it out of the front seat of his car? How do you know this is the bottle of wine you took out of the front seat? Well, because it's still got the evidence sticker on it where I marked my initials and affixed it to the neck of the bottle. All right, and you found it where? Now what you do is you've got to relate it to your theory of the case. And so you say, well, it has not been opened, has it? Well, it has not. And so he clearly was not drinking this alcohol. No. So when you said he had a bottle of wine in the car and made it sound like he had been drinking that wine, clearly he had not been drinking this wine. That is correct. All right, Judge, I have marked this. We've laid our foundation questions, and you don't have to say, Judge, I've laid the foundation questions, but you do have to lay the foundation questions, which are, what is it, and where did you get it, and how do you know that's what it is? So you lay those questions, you mark it, you've established the relevance, now you got to move it into evidence. Now, a lot of people forget this part. They forget to move it into evidence, and so they mark it, they get them to testify about it, and then they put it back on their table and it never gets admitted. So you have to say, Your Honor, I move that this be admitted into evidence as Defense Exhibit 1. And the judge will say, do you have any objection? If the other side has no objection, it's admitted. Now, next you have to publish it to the jury, meaning you have to give it to them, show it to them. So you take it, you say, Your Honor, permission to publish to the jury. Yep, and then you can walk over there and put it on their desk. That way they can handle it, read it if it's something to be read, look at the seal and make sure it's not broken. And then you can continue asking questions. Now, when to publish it to the jury is kind of a strategical question. Because if you've got a big long contract or, maybe a rights form, something like that, if you establish relevance, admit it into evidence, and hand it to the jury, you better not have any more questions. Because if you hand it to them, human nature, they're going to start reading it and passing it to one another and reading it, and they're not going to listen to anything you've got to say. So you don't want to publish it to them until after, or you want to publish it and then just sit there while everybody's got a chance to look at it. Easier just to hang on to it and publish it when you finish and turn it over to the other side. Now, if you're the other side and somebody has admitted that evidence and then published it right before you speak, give it a minute. Let them look, because they're not going to hear any of that wonderful cross-examination you've been working on if they're still reading the document. So that's essentially how you introduce an exhibit. You mark it, you ask foundation questions, establish relevance, use it, move it into evidence, which a lot of people forget to do, and then publish to the jury, which a lot of people forget to do. So that's essentially it. Now you won't look like a dummy.